What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Zees Political Arrow. Today, Keanu Keefe, a man who doesn't twist narratives, he simply unravels it. This video has been taken down by YouTube, but I bring it to you today because the truth deserves to be heard. Censorship won't silence voices that challenge power. They preach democracy while bulldozing homes, claim self-defense while bombing hospitals, and cry victim while playing the oppressor. This video will show it's a masterclass in gaslighting, and yet mainstream media still shields them, twisting the narrative to justify the unjustifiable. Why? Because when the powerful rewrite the rules, justice becomes just another casualty. But today, we're cutting through the propaganda. No sugarcoating, no apologies, just cold hard truths. What follows isn't the scripted talking points of politicians or the sanitized coverage of corporate news. It's raw with Keanu Keefe and Jake Shields. Let's jump into it.
Let's circle back real quick to your time in Palestine. I mean, you must have some crazy stories there. And also, how were the people to you? Everyone always tells me how much Muslims hate me, but my experience has been, I had a seminar canceled and a Zionist got one of my seminars canceled in Brooklyn, and I had dozens of Palestinians show up and bring me gifts and thank me, and guys were trying to give me money for the seminar. I didn't take it, but they're trying to pay me anyways, and it's just like they're giving me hugs, gifts, scarves, necklaces, telling me how much they love me and appreciation. It was like, it almost made me cry, like just it's like, oh, I just lost, 10,000 for a seminar, but these people are coming. This is way more important. The love these people came and showed me.
Yeah. No, it's the world is inverted, man. I mean, these people, honestly. And the Muslims don't hate you. They love you for what you've done, brother.
I've been to a lot of these Muslim countries, and I've been treated so good. That's why I was saying that like a joke, because people on Twitter tell me how much these Muslims hate me. But my life experience, I've gone to these countries. I have strangers bring me into my home and want to have tea and have discussions, and I've never been treated so good. I remember I was there on Christmas one day. They don't celebrate Christmas, but they brought me cakes and a present and stuff because they know I celebrate it. I was like shocked. I'm just like, oh wow, this hospitality is unreal.
I remember one time in Gaza, I was, working, as I said, I was working for free and long hours and, all sorts of stuff. And I went to a family, I went to many families, and I sat down, I talked to them, filmed their story. And I sat down with one family. I hadn't eaten for a long time, and I was really quite hungry. And they give you, like, always tea and whatnot.
Yeah, they'll feed, that's my experience, they'll feed you tea. It's insane.
And I sat down, and they brought me some tea, and I believe they had some pita bread, and they had a little pita bread. And I asked, do you have any hummus? And I realized after the fact, because they said no. Everything they had, they were giving me. Everything. That's all they had. I've opened up the fridge in a home in Gaza where the fridge completely empty. There's nothing in there. Yeah. And this is 13, 14 years ago. So they'll give you everything, the shirt off their back. And it just made me, it really hit home there, like, oh, Ken, you idiot. Like, that they give you everything they have. They wouldn't bring you pita when they had pita, hummus, fattoush, falafel. They would bring you all of that.
They would have brought it,
They would have brought it. And it really just kind of hit home. But I'd like to get into the difference between the West Bank and Gaza and explain that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't understand that.
The first place that I went to was the West Bank. And keep in mind now, I had done something called the Human Shield Action to Iraq a year earlier, which got me international attention. My first BBC Hard Talk interview, CNN, Fox, you name it, all of them. And so I was already known in that sense. Plus, I had done work saving turtles, which also got international attention. But that's very different.
Yeah, different.
Everybody loves the guy who's saving turtles, man.
But not when you're saving humans.
No. That's all.
The media tells you these humans are bad.
Yeah. But I knew after that, I failed. I tried to stop the invasion of Iraq, and that may sound delusional, but if you look back at the true history, it actually, we had the potential to do that.
Yeah, I was reading the story in Wikipedia. It's pretty impressive. Just give a quick
version. So I was in the first Gulf War, 1990-91. I was basically, we were sent to Saudi Arabia, and we lived in holes in the ground for like 3 months. I remember going a month without a shower. We finally got a chance to take a shower. And I went to shower, and I've got hair. I've got hair on there. My hair was no longer hair. It was like a rock. It was a monolithic thing. And when I got into the shower, it just ran off my hair like water off a duck's back. Anyway, we're living in these holes in the ground, and we went in to Kuwait, and it was all ostensibly to save Kuwaiti. Now, ironically, the argument of America was that a big nation, a powerful nation like Iraq, did not have any lawful mandate to go and invade a small neighboring nation. Now, I, in the first Hard Talk interview I did, made the corollary, the parallel to Hawaii. I'm a Hawaiian national as well, and there is a genocide being committed there. Without deviating too far, I went to the first Gulf War, and I have medals and, blah, 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 combat. I saw combat there. And thankfully, I never killed anybody. I always thank God for that.
That'd be terrible to kill someone.
Really.
But yeah, I have a friend who killed someone and realized later on that it's he shot a guy like kind of accidentally running a checkpoint. He said eats him up all the time.
Yeah.
He's all like, you just know, like, I shot an innocent guy.
Yeah.
I probably had a family.
And you'll be thinking, like, was he your father? Yeah. So by the grace of God, I didn't have to kill anybody because they were all surrendering. We bombed the living shit out of them for over a month. So by the time the ground war started, we marched in and so on and so forth. Anyway, I was in Kuwait for a long time. We were the last ones to come out. And I saw the invasion of Iraq coming in 2003. I had been a dive instructor and a boat captain in Hawaii. And literally when 9/11 happened, I was like, I got to go. I was already on the target list. I was already confronting the court system, getting tickets. I was doing The United States of Hypocrisy, a film about the Hawaiian genocide. So I saw the invasion of Iraq coming, and I was like, are you serious? We're going back? There's 500,000 dead kids. Let's remind everybody, for those who don't know, Madeleine Albright, Jewish, our Secretary of State. Yeah, Madeleine Albright. She said very famously, although every American should know it, they don't, on 60 Minutes, she was asked about the sanctions that we had from the first Gulf War that led all the way to the second invasion of Iraq. Those sanctions, which are similar to Iran or Palestine, right?
Yeah.
Like literally cutting off all the means of industry and supply and infrastructure. So you completely destroy the country. What ends up happening is you have dirty water, which gives cholera, diphtheria, malaria. You have all these waterborne diseases. You have malnutrition, all of this. It led to provably and indisputably 500,000 dead children, right? Mm-hmm. So Madeleine Albright, our Secretary of State, our head foreign minister, was asked on 60 Minutes, we see the suffering and 500,000 dead children. Was it worth it? So this is in regards to the war that I was involved in.
500,000 dead kids. Was it worth it?
And she said, well, this is a difficult choice, but we think on balance it was worth it. Did you just say 500,000 dead kids was worth it?
Yeah, it's just
the
sickness of these people is
our foreign secretary. We got 2% of the human population, but hey, just coincidentally, our foreign minister, our Secretary of State, is Jewish, and this is her position. Is there anybody who has any kind of humanity in them who would say that killing 500,000 children would be justifiable for just about anything?
No, and we didn't really get anything done with that war either.
No.
Nothing. We made Iraq worse.
Look at BlackRock and Vanguard. How much do they own?
Who owns them?
Yeah. Oh, shoot. It's that group. Who controls them? Oh, yeah. Who can Hollywood? Oh. Anyway, so the first Gulf War happened. It was personal to me. I saw the second one happening. So I created this thing called the Human Shield Action to Iraq, which was based on law. Keeping in mind, I took an oath to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States, to fight all enemies, foreign and domestic, and to follow the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So help me God. So I kept that oath, and I have been a big advocate of law ever since. Now, I've studied international law, human rights law, maritime law, trade law. I've studied it all. British law, common law, American law, constitutional law. I have studied these things. So what I came up with was this idea. I knew the invasion of Iraq was coming. I also knew enough to know that this was part of Greater Israel. It was the carryover for Greater Israel. I knew that they were going to invade. We had the biggest protests in the world. Literally, these were the biggest anti-war protests in the world at that time.
Yeah, I was part of those.
Yes. But I was saying at that time, listen, you're all deluding yourselves. This is going to happen. Your protests and petitions aren't going to do shit. Yeah. If we really want to stop this war, here's how we can do it. We need, because the value of life. How much is a Palestinian life worth compared to an American life?
To them, nothing.
Right. 20,000 dead kids. Okay.
They say a fingernail is worth 10,000 Palestinians or something.
Literally. It literally
I've actually heard them say that.
Right. Now, that is a perverse, unacceptable reality. However, within that, we find a strength strategically. If our lives are worth so much more, then maybe we need to put our lives at risk. And in this case, I wrote a call to action, and I said specifically, if we really want to stop this invasion, understanding the disparity of value between non-Western life, especially Arab Palestinians or Iraqis, compared to ours, that means we have power, we have strength. If we take our bodies and we position them in places that, according to the Fourth Geneva Convention, are protected. They are protected sites. Water treatment facilities, water is important. We all take it for granted. We take a shower, you turn on the tap. When you don't have water,
it's a necessity, it's a human necessity.
You are in deep shit. You need water. Food is surplus to requirements. I've gone a month twice without food. I've gone 46 days without food.
Yeah,
but water,
a couple days without water.
You ain't going to survive long without water. So water treatment facilities are protected according to the Fourth Geneva Convention. Keep in mind, all of this was instigated post-World War II to avoid World War III. Electrical power plants. If you don't have electricity, that's going to shut down the water treatment facilities and the power required to pump.
So it's against international law to bomb these.
Water treatment facilities, electrical power plants, food storage sites, and communication sites. All of these are protected because they're critical to the civilian population, the non-combatant. So I argued that if we really want to stop the war, I said 10,000 of us get down to Iraq and position ourselves at these sites.
Put your life in danger, so they're going to have to kill you to do it.
Yes, and my activism skills were such that I have learned a lot. Captain Paul Watson, Sea Shepherds, that's another story. But bottom line, I had 3 double-decker buses. We left from London.
How did you find people to do that? It's like brave people going in there and putting their lives in danger. That's amazing of them.
It really was. And imagine being the crazy son of a bitch who's coming up with this, like, I'm going to be a human.
You probably had a lot of people going like, are you sure we're going to do this?
The call to action I wrote was so compelling. And back then it was indie media, you know, for those that go back.
You've been banned from most of media, I've assumed.
Indie media was the way to share activist type of information. I also used free press releases. I was a refugee seeking political asylum in Holland at this point. But anyway, I posted it everywhere. I spent days and days, hours and hours writing this call to action and posting it everywhere. And I had the idea, I presented it, and it got traction. People were like, whoa, this is big. Now, keep in mind, we have the biggest protest in the world, right?
It worked if you got them there. You can't just go and bomb thousands of American and British citizens.
We could have stopped that war.
Especially they're in spots that, they shouldn't be bombed anyways.
Honestly, I touched greatness, man. My objective was to stop that war, and I came close, but it was infiltrated and subverted. But without getting into all that, we had 500 human shields at its peak in Iraq.
A lot of people volunteered to go put their lives in danger because they could just bomb you. You see what Israel does.
You know what I was calling for? If I'd had the money, if some billionaire would have given me a few quid, I could have chartered flights from London, Berlin, Rome, New York City, Los Angeles.
You were just doing this by yourself with no money.
We could have stopped the war. We could have. And I touched it, and then I watched it crumble before my eyes. Yeah. And I honestly, it hurt, man. It hurt. It really did.
Something's coming so close, putting all that effort, and then watching just tens of thousands, if not more, people get massacred.
It wasn't about me, man. It was about trying to save these lives, and I touched the possibility of saving 1 million, 2 million lives. And then I watched it destroyed before my eyes. And then I watched this invasion. I went back a year later and burned my passport in Baghdad. And I charged the United States with crimes against humanity. When the true history books are told, look, I'm not trying to do this for like, oh, look at me. Listen, I'm a blessed man. I care.
That's why I was reading this in Wikipedia. I'm like, wow, this is crazy. So I know I saw that organization. It's pretty impressive and brave of you to do that. And then after Iraq got destroyed, then all of a sudden ISIS raised. And who funded ISIS?
Israeli secret intelligence services.
CIA and Mossad together, but they work hand in hand. So
the human shield action didn't work. The idea was based on law.
Amazing
it
idea.
Was powerful.
The fact that you put it out there and came close, that's impressive.
I'm a blessed man. You know, I genuinely care. My mission is a better world. I'm not bullshitting either, and that's why you have to be prepared to die. You know,
we're all going to die anyways. What's the point of living as cowards?
Why would you fear the inevitable?
Yeah, I don't understand. COVID was a wake up call for me that realized, wow, people haven't came to terms. We're all going to die, and you're like that scared of like.
Maybe we should be protecting our spirit.
Yeah, right. Like
maybe
take care of your spirit, and
maybe that's more important than this.
There's a lot more. There's a lot of things worse than death.
And there you have it, folks. Ken O'Keefe isn't just another critic of Western imperialism. He's a man who put his life on the line to stop it. He was that close to stopping the Iraqi war, a war that slaughtered 2 million people and left an entire country in chaos. Just imagine if he had succeeded. Imagine if the world had listened. But that's the price of challenging the machine. You get silenced, censored, and labeled a radical for daring to speak the truth. And yet, here he is, still exposing the corruption, the hypocrisy, and the absolute lunacy of those who pretend to lead us. His words cut through propaganda like a knife, and that's exactly why voices like his must be amplified. The truth doesn't need permission to exist, and neither do those who refuse to bow to power. If this conversation resonates with you, don't just walk away. Share it. Talk about it. And most importantly, keep questioning everything. This is Z from Zees Political Arrow, and I hope to catch you on the next one.